Welcome to EduRev.
And then coming on to tools. Now, the one point that is very, very important when we are talking about the tools is marked in yellow color here. Try to look at that. There is not much evidence of production of weapons by the Indus Valley people, which suggests that there might not have been a great confrontation in the Harappan civilization. What does that mean? It means that the Harappans or the people of the Indus Valley, they might not have involved on a very high scale in warfare. Warfare was not that big a deal in the Indus Valley civilization because then you would be actually producing a mass production of weapons, but that is not actually the case, which suggests that warfare is not a very big industry or very big activity in Indus Valley civilization, which when extrapolated, the discussion could also lead to the fact that Aryans and the Harappans might not have been, there might not have been a great confrontation of a very large scale. So such extrapolated discussions can go on and on. What actually happened with the invasion of the Aryans? How did their Indus Valley civilization actually decline? That is for an entirely different day for discussion. Let us not come into that, but try to remember the small fact that there was not much of a mass production of weapons. There was not a great deal of importance that was given to warfare. And tools such as axes, spearheads, daggers, bows, they were made of copper and bronze was actually much used on a very large scale. And these actually suggest that hunting might have been a prominent thing. And similarly, you also had some fish hooks, which shows that fishing must have been another important occupation. And similarly, knives, spindles, needles, these were also found, which further suggests the use of tools in various households. These are the household tool articles. Try to remember that as well. And then coming on to, yes, something that is very, very important is religion. Because though the Harappans, they were not that associated, they did not give as much importance to this aspect of religion, there are still some prominent information that we could observe from this seals that is found, from the statues that was found. Let us try to understand that some presence of religious beliefs which was comparable to present day Hinduism was found in Indus Valley civilization. How did they prove that? Because you have this symbol or the seal of Pashupati, this symbol or seal of Pashupati, who was considered to be the proto Shiva. And similarly, we also have the worship of Mother Goddess that was taking place. Now, from this Mother Goddess, we can extrapolate the discussion in two aspects. One thing is the worship of Mother Goddess indicates that there might have been a matriarchal society in picture. Indus Valley civilization might have been a matriarchal society. That is one interpretation. What is the second interpretation? That because of the worship of the Pashupati, because of the worship of the Mother Goddess, this might have extrapolated, might have got extended in the future also. That is why we have this worship of bhaktis, and that is why we have this worship of female goddesses later on in the religion of Hinduism. Also, there was this worship of fertility symbols, yoni worship, phallus worship, and so on, which also suggests that this might have got extended in the later part of Hinduism, which suggests that there was some presence of religious beliefs which was comparable to early Hinduism. Did you get my interpretation, friends? So this is how that we interpreted that things might have existed in such and such a manner in the previous time. However, historians believe that the religion does not seem to have a predominant influence on the society. If you could remember in the last lecture, we dealt about one UPSC prelims question which asked this very same point. That is how religion impacted the society of IBC. So this point was asked in one of the prelims paper, and that particular prelims question we discussed in the last module also. Please try to go back to the previous lecture to view about that. Continuing the concept of religion, they worshipped a father god who was considered to be a prototype of Lord Shiva or Proto Shiva or the initial format of Shiva, and he was called as Pashupati, and he was suggested to be sitting in a yogic posture. And they worshipped fertility symbols, and they worshipped trees and animals. They believed in ghosts and evil forces, and to ward them off, amulets were used as protection against these evil forces. And this prototype of sacred tank, which was found in Mohenjo-daro, what are they referring to here? They are referring to the Great Bath, the sacred tank that was found in Mohenjo-daro, that was also found in the later parts of Hindu temples in the southern parts of the country in South India. So that is why we can always say that there is a definite thread. There is a definite thread that continued from the ancient Indus Valley civilization. A thread of religion actually continued towards the modern era, which later on became the proper ways of developing Hinduism. Now coming on to the script. The script, of course, it has not been deciphered yet. But what is very important, it is a pictographic script. It is a pictographic script. It was mostly written from right to left. It was mostly written from right to left. Another important word is Boustro-Fredin method. In the late Harappan period, the script was essentially written in Boustro-Fredin method. That was primarily in the late Harappan time. Not just that, it was only a very minor script, or very small number of scripts was actually written in Boustro-Fredin method. Majorly what was found? Majorly the script was written from right to left. Another thing is, what is this Boustro-Fredin method? Take a look at the picture that we have here. That is, you start writing from the left to right initially. You start writing from like this, and then you move from right to left. So in alternate lines, you're writing from left to right, and then you're moving from right to left, and then you're coming back in the next line from left to right. So this alternate way of writing is what we refer to as the Boustro-Fredin method. So this was also adopted in the late Harappan period script. And then coming on to burial practices, three important burial practices you have to take a note of here. First thing is complete burial, as in they tend to bury the entire body. Second practice that was actually practiced was fractional burials. Now complete burials was again the major practice. Fractional burials was also taking place. What is fractional burial? It is nothing but the body is left to be exposed to the nature. Birds, beasts, they try to eat away the corpse, the carcass, and then what happens is the bones are gathered and then later on it is buried. So it is fractional burial because first of all the body is exposed to the forces of the nature and later on it is buried. So that is why we call it as a fractional burial. And then comes the point of cremation. So what is cremation? Yes, the body gets cremated totally. So yes, three types of burials we have seen, and burial chambers have been discovered in the form of pits. So in some burial pits, brick linings were also found. That is, in some burial practices, probably they were lined with big bricks. The pits was actually lined with bricks, which showed that there might have been certain social differences for burying a person or for burying the dead people. Some might get a better higher status of burial, whereas the others might not get that great degree of respect when he is dead. And some of the dead, they were buried, this point is very, very crucial, they were buried along with the items of jewelry, pottery, indicating the belief in afterlife. That also you need to remember. And the next thing is weights and measures. Of course, they have standard weights and measures in the form of cubical pieces of stones, which was called as sherds. They were called as sherds. And they show that in weighing, mostly they take to the practices of 16 and multiples of 16. That was the general practice. Like 16 annas, that was a very common way of trade and commerce. You have certain coins, and 16 was actually the multiples for weighing measurements. 16 was also the major practice for giving out coins for trade and commerce. So that also you have to remember.